What's going on, guys? I go by J2A TV. I'm back with another banger for you guys. Today, what we're going to talk about is the season 4 finale from My Hero Academia. A little different than, I know the last couple of videos there's been some DBZ stuff, and as always, we're going to cover the Avatar, but I want to tap into one of my favorite, kind of modern day mainstream medias. I even have a Hawks tattoo on my arm. Guys, the season 4 finale of My Hero Academia is one of the most disrespected and overlooked episodes in anime history. The Endeavor versus Nomu fight. There's a lot of reasons why I think that this should be considered as one of the best fights in anime. Right off the bat, we could just start with the animation. Some of the animation in this fight is some of the best I've ever seen. The way that you can see the color of his flames and how it kind of contrasts against the different, very soft but still colorful colors in the background. And, there's not very many fights that take place in the city in anime and kind of incorporate the world building into the show. For example, there's a scene where Hawks has to save all the people from this falling building, and that kind of, it's all about heroes and what heroes do, and that incorporating all of the elements that are in the area kind of makes it a lot more interesting. When you look at other animes, the background is kind of just used to show how powerful the impact of someone's attack is by either blowing up a mountain or someone getting smashed through some rocks. But when you actually incorporate that into the scheme of the battle, I think that's really cool. And obviously the main dynamic of the whole fight is Endeavor versus Nomu, which we're gonna get into. But while I was mentioning Hawks, I wanted to also mention that the kind of dual action that's going on at the time during the fight makes it a lot more interesting as well. You have one section is the onlookers. You have Endeavor's son. You have all the people that are watching. You have All Might is also watching, and then of course the onlookers, and it's kind of setting up this overall feel that's very similar to that the famous All Might fight that got him injured and what Deku used to watch on TV all the time when he was a child. Then you also have the Endeavor versus Nomu going on, but then you also have Hawks kind of assisting, doing what he does best as kind of as he says, not really the best against strength types, but he's kind of the ultimate assist hero. He's not a sidekick, but he's the ultimate assist main hero, if that makes sense. So you kind of have that going on while he's also simultaneously saving people. So it kind of shows how badass he is, but it doesn't overshadow the Endeavor fight, which I think all of that together was great writing, and it really looks amazing while it's all happening. You're kind of bouncing back and forth between all three of these things, and it keeps it interesting. So now to get into the main meat and potatoes, the Endeavor actually fighting the Nomu. So a couple things to note. The Nomu, they did previously have Nomus that they had fought before. All Might fought the very beefed up Nomu that and he kind of overcame it. He went plus ultra, and that was that. But the thing about this Nomu is it was able to kind of study Endeavor's moves and make counters like it was thinking. It also was a lot stronger and faster than the previous one, and it also had the ability to generate other smaller Nomus that started attacking people and fighting the other heroes so that they couldn't help Endeavor. So visually this fight is amazing, and then obviously the combat of the fight is also amazing. But I think before we get into the actual fighting, I think it's important to also note that there was a lot of things going on in the background that kind of made this fight more than what it was on screen. The circumstances and the context is everything. For instance, Endeavor had just been named the #1 hero. And so, this is a big deal because, the symbol of peace previously, All Might, has since retired, and, villains have become aware of this, and they're starting to come out and cause havoc and do all of these things. And the world was kind of looking for who the next hero was going to be. So as I mentioned previously, all the onlookers are kind of looking, and, Endeavor shows up as the #1 hero, and it means a lot because if he loses, then that kind of amplifies the feeling of people's fear in the sense that, oh, All Might's gone, that means that peace is then gone. And the villains can kind of run rampant and just do whatever, and everyone kind of loses hope. So kind of all of the hope of humanity, it's kind of crazy. All the hope of humanity at the time was kind of riding on Endeavor's shoulders. Something else to note is the relationship between Shoto and Endeavor. They had a very rocky relationship. As you watch the show, you kind of realize that Endeavor abused, his family and his wife growing up because the only thing he was really concerned about was his strength and kind of catching up to All Might, but also trying to, produce the ultimate hero, essentially. He saw his shortcomings when it came to being close to All Might or surpassing All Might, as he overheats. You see that during the fight as well. It's he Endeavor is very extremely strong, but a lot of the heroes have handicaps and weaknesses, and his is just he overheats. So what he was kind of trying to do was create like the perfect hero, and so he failed a couple times with some of his kids. Like one of his kids only fire, like him. One of his kids is only like the freeze and ice, like his wife. But eventually he ends up having Shoto. Shoto is able to do both abilities simultaneously, and he's also very intelligent and a strong fighter. But in doing so, in creating the perfect hero, Endeavor destroys his family relationships, and as a result, Shoto kind of refuses to ever use his fire side for a bit. He eventually ends up coming around to it, but he had that brief period of rebellion where he didn't want to be like his dad. So yeah, Shoto on looking like means something, and then also Endeavor kind of trying to have his little bit of character development where it's like, hey, I used to be this guy, but now I'm trying to fight selflessly for something other than my own strength or things that I care about, and passing All Might, and act as a symbol of peace and protection to others, which is pretty dope. And especially considering the brief amount of time that passed between when he was like in kind of his really bad ways, as you see him kind of at the tournament trying to push Shoto, to this moment, is really good character development. So yeah, all of those things like really matter to fight. So now we can get into the specifics of the actual combat and why this is so cool. You have, as I mentioned, like all these different dynamics that are making the fight more interesting. Like you have like, okay, the onlookers are there, and like they're trying to see who's going to be the if he's going to be able to live up to the standard of peace and like become the symbol. But then also you have, he's overheating and he's trying to figure out what's going on, and he has like even this instance where he kind of gets sneak attacked and stabbed through the face, and you have this kind of moment where he's down bad, just like on his back, all stabbed up and broken, and everyone thinks that they're about to lose hope, and you're kind of clinging to the edge of your seat trying to see what's going to happen next. And like the Nomu is like, yo, are there any other stronger heroes? This is too easy, all this and that. And then Endeavor kind of gets up, like pulls himself together, and he has this one badass line, like it's one of my favorites from the series, where the Endeavor is kind of like willing himself, like blasting his fire towards the Nomu, and the Nomu asks him like, oh, are you also able to regenerate? And he says no, like don't get it twisted, like I'm actually dying and like completely broken, and the only thing that's pushing me forward is my will alone. Like that was crazy, like really cool, really dope, and really good writing. Like the writing is fire in this, and just as fire honestly as the visuals that you get. But yeah, in general, we just see Endeavor use a lot of cool things. Like, use his Hell Spider. He kind of has that moment where he tries to chop the Nomu up, and like the whole building kind of gets cut into a billion pieces and blows up. That was really cool. Endeavor kind of goes into his full bag of tricks. Like, we've been able to see All Might fight at semi-close to full power, and some of the other characters throughout the show, but Endeavor, like, he looked cool. Like, he's the guy with the fire, and he's like super jacked and all this stuff. But this is kind of our first instance to see like really what he's capable of. But yeah, then towards, more towards the finale, you have where, Endeavor is concerned, even at his most, vulnerable stage where he's about to die, and, he's on the brink. He's still worried about the civilians, and he's like, oh, I can, go higher and get away from the people and just release my full power, so I don't got to worry about the rest of the innocent people down below. Again, shows his character development, but the visuals you get here as he's going up, super cool. And, he has like his Hellfire Fist, like going in the Nomu's like head, and just like burning it up, and the visuals that you get are cool. And then also, again, simultaneously, Hawks is doing everything he can to, help Endeavor, and you get some cool cutaways. Anime got to do some cool cutaways where they say the person's name for no reason. He ends up disintegrating the Nomu and goes plus ultra, and I thought that was a really interesting moment, and some people might overlook that, but it's like, he says like, oh, I hate this like school, like mantra kind of thing, but it's kind of paying respect to All Might, and like the writing is so that they're trying to further emphasize how similar it is to the All Might fight and what it means and what it stands for. And like, if that wasn't enough, they double down on it with his stance at the end, like kind of with his hand raised, standing similar, very similar to how All Might had done. And I think that Endeavor probably did this intentionally, trying to show people like, hey, even though All Might is gone, I'm still just as capable, if not more capable than protecting everyone as well. So, and to kind of tell villains out there as well, like, have a very visual representation that, peace is here to stay, and just because All Might retired, there still is a #1 hero. But yeah, I think I hit pretty much every topic that I could in regards to this fight. If some of you guys haven't seen this fight, I highly suggest that you go read it and then go watch it. Guys, let me know in the comments if you guys want to see more My Hero Academia content on the page. It's one of my favorite all-time animes. It's you could consider it mainstream, but I think it doesn't get as much critique in media or on YouTube as it probably deserves for good and for bad. I just don't see a lot of people talking about it as much. So I would like to bring a lot of it to the channel, but yeah, let me know down in the comments if you guys would be interested in seeing more of My Hero, and also let me know what you guys think. Like, where would you rank this fight in regards to other My Hero fights and just in anime in general? As always, guys, smash the like button. We are trying to get to 1,000 subscribers as soon as possible, but thank you so much. As always, I really appreciate you guys for watching my videos. Until next time, J2ATV out.
You could be my queen if you with it or not. Too many times I feel like I'm out of love. Is you really rocking with me or